is being driven by non-banks, especially those that have solid fundamentals that consistently pay dividend. That is what is currently exciting investors. So if you talk about Total, if you talk about Bob and MTN, those have been the leading lights on the market so far this year. So good, the return is good, but I would say that it's skewed towards some few stocks. In fact, when you look at the market generally, we've just had about 7 stocks that have.
And people cannot justify the appalling attacks by Hamas, and those appalling attacks cannot justify the collective panic.
Are the new Nazis. For beheading of a child, how you can agree to a ceasefire with someone who swore to kill and destroy your own existence?
This Wednesday on the Joy Business Van, Johannes Klub, CEO of Log On Voice.
Again, everything started from way back from my bed. You know, it was just playing around, falling in love with ITN.
Providing tailored software solutions to grow businesses.
Let's say you are not in Ghana, you have about 4 businesses in Ghana. You set the 10 branches. So when you are out there, you'll be able to know how many sales happen in your system, in your shop, this particular shop. At the end of the day,
it's a whole new digital experience. Log On Voice on the Joy Business Van this Wednesday on TV, radio, online, and on ground. The Joy Business Van is powered by Joy Business and supported by EcoBank, the Pan African Bank, and MTN. What are we doing today?
And thanks for staying with us here on the Joy News channel. We're paying, that close attention to the international development, especially with regard to Israel's war on Gaza. And this afternoon, we will be speaking to the Palestinian ambassador to Ghana as we explore the solutions to this humanitarian crisis in the Middle East. But first, here's my colleague Isaac Kofi-Adjei, who's joining us in studio with the latest research on the death toll and the humanitarian crisis accompanying this conflict in the Middle East. Kofi, is a good time to be talking to you, looking at the numbers that we're looking at, the latest coming through from Gaza, and the figures appear to... What's the latest in terms of the numbers?
That these are human beings, in fact, people with lives that we are talking about, people with family. And as we speak, we can talk about 700 Palestinians who have been killed by the current Israeli airstrike at the Gaza Strip. And that's the latest, update that we can have on this war. But we know why this has started. It's all because of the 7th, October 2020, where they are on their knees to actually allow them to go and give humanitarian aid to those on the Gaza stretch. This is not the first time that Israel has actually decided to probably withdraw from Gaza or something like that. 2005, we saw the same thing happen. But they've explained, Israel has actually explained that this war or this attack is going to be in three folds. We are seeing probably the first one that we are seeing, their mandate or their target is to attack key infrastructure of, lower intensity areas where they said they want to eliminate, the terrorists, their hideouts and all of those things. And so Israel is saying that that will be their last stage. And after that, they're going to withdraw from Gaza for life.
The latest statements from the UN Secretary General is stoking tension. Israel saying that they do not accept his position on the matter, stating that the conflict did not happen out of a vacuum. Why is that becoming a major debate on the international?
Well, I think Israel is now,
targeting out of a vacuum. Why is that becoming a major debate on the international?
Well, I think Israel is now, targeting
people. I talk the same. We are brothers. The Muslims and the Christian in all the world should be brothers. Your religion asks you to be my brother, and my religion asks me to be your brother. Some people has the worst culture in the world. When he talk about his brother, the Muslim or the Christian, bad or in bad words, So the relation in Palestine, between the Muslims and the Christians, we are one family. The conflict between the Palestinians people, Muslims and the Christians, against the occupier of my land. I do not hate the Israel because he's Israeli. I cannot hate them or attack them or do anything against them. But if anyone come to occupy your country, what he will do? You.
That's an interesting.
You will fight about. I know. You will fight about yourself.
Yeah, you have to defend your integrity, territorial integrity. Just hold on for me. Let me bring in our former Deputy Foreign Affairs Minister, Emmanuel Bombande, who's also a peace resolution expert, and he's joining us via Zoom now. Thank you, sir, for spending some time with us. Good to have you with us. You've heard from the Palestinian ambassador to Ghana, and he's advanced a number of points, also acceding to the call by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration that they are indeed committed to negotiations, coming to the table and having a peace talk. But do you see that happening anytime soon?
First of all, let me express my warm greetings to you and extend it to His Excellency, the Palestinian, and to respond to your question by simply making a few observations. If you look at your prelude, it's very important for us to understand that when we are talking about the conflict between the Palestinians and the Israelis, what we in Ghana understand is not about which side you are taking sides with or supporting. But what is absolutely clear is whether we are in support of justice, justice and international humanitarian law and the Charter of the United Nations are related to the Palestinians and the Israelis have been passed. If you look at it this way, you are able to, such as who preceded whom on that land. And let me make this. First of all, you were making reference to this emphatic. Our lowest point as a non-member state of the Security Council, our lowest point during the 2 years, which will end December 2023, was when we abstained in the Security Council from voting for a humanitarian pause in the Security Council last week that will now facilitate the delivery of humanitarian support to the Palestinians in Gaza. I thought that was the lowest point because we were abstaining, basically interpreting that to mean we did not even appreciate the magnitude of the humanitarian crisis, basically interpreting that to mean we did not even appreciate the magnitude of the humanitarian crisis in solidarity for their freedom, for their justice. And the only way we can now meaningfully support Israel is in our preventive diplomacy to convey to Israel that their security is linked and interconnected with the security and the respect of the human rights of the Palestinians. That's the second point I wanted to make. And the third point, which basically you asked me to wrap up there, Number one, there are two different resolutions currently before the Security Council. Two of them are calling for a ceasefire. We are watching whether we are going to support the ceasefire or not. Ghana cannot be part of the people in this world who do not value the lives of the Palestinians. Because when you say you are voting against a ceasefire, you are saying you support the continuous bombardment and killing of the Palestinians, including children. So we are going to watch that. And whilst we watch that, we must see our role as a non-permanent member of the Security Council, as one of the first African countries to join the Security Council, as the only country in sub-Saharan Africa that has produced a Secretary General of the UN. We, by virtue of our history, must leverage how Ghana must continue to punch above our weight and to insist that we believe in justice and we believe in fairness. And once we do this, let us not fall into the rhetoric of some of the extremist people who are very comfortable to say that this is not the moment for ceasefire, which means, in other words, continue to kill the Palestinians. Ghana must speak against that. Ghana must make its voice heard. And when we make our voice heard, we have respect and standing in the global community. We must support the Secretary General of the United Nations, Antonio Guterres. He will not resign. He will continue to speak for the voiceless.
And I'm grateful on our channel. Mr. Ambassador, we are leaving. What message would you like to leave with the people of Ghana as we wrap up on this conference? And I'm grateful on our channel. Mr. Ambassador, we are leaving. What message would you like to leave with the people of Ghana as we wrap up on this conference?
Health in Ghana, according to the World Health Organization, factories and waste burning are to blame for a lot of pollutants, but transport, especially the old fleet of trotros, is the biggest single contributor. Some of the particles emitted in this smoke are so tiny they can enter the bloodstream with lethal consequences over time.
It's not easy. It's a difficult moment. It's challenging breathing, especially at night when you are asleep.
Ruben Alexander has asthma, a life-threatening illness that constricts airways. Now 44 and an accountant with the University of Ghana Medical School in Korle Bu, Otu says he was first diagnosed as a child. It was not a big surprise. Otu's mother had fought asthma for years before it finally took her life. Soon after, Otu's doctors told him he too had the disease. He is one of a growing number of Ghanaians with respiratory illnesses and a range of ailments, including heart conditions that doctors say are worsened by toxic air. Otu has to think all day, every day about avoiding triggers.
You encounter different kind of cars with their smoke from their exhaust pipes, very bad, and they are not the best.
The journey is far from comfortable, and with the emission of poisonous gas from the carbon-fueled engines, not even his nose mask can save him.
Protect myself from the dust in the system, the dust in the weather conditions in around here. It would help me to at least have a clean breath of air. So that's why I normally put on my nose mask. And especially when I use the trotro and stuff, people might come in with all sorts of perfumes in which might not be that best for me.
Air pollution has been associated with several diseases, notably respiratory diseases, acute ones as well as chronic respiratory disorders, lung function disorders, cardiovascular diseases. And even in recent times, there are linkages with adverse reproductive health outcomes like miscarriages, low birth weight, premature deaths, and infertility in males.
Dr. Carl Osei has been monitoring the impact of air pollution on Ghana's growing population. He is the program manager of the Occupational and Environmental Health Unit at the Ghana Health Service. He says the effects of dirty air are far-reaching for many groups of Ghanaians.
We know that the children, usually are more vulnerable because their lungs are not well developed. and they stay closer to the ground where you have some of these pollutants in higher concentration. So they are more vulnerable, as well as the aged, the elderly, who are also not able to handle the effects of this air pollution, as well as the strong adults. Then also we can talk about those who have pre-existing chronic lung diseases, chronic obstructive lung diseases. Okay, these are exacerbated when they are exposed to air pollution.
The WHO says that 99% of the world's population is breathing polluted air. Children and the elderly are most at risk when exposed to these pollutants. And UNICEF is concerned, especially for children in Ghana.
If you look at pregnant women, it has an impact on them, on the developing baby in the womb, on when the babies are born. They may have low birth weight, some die, children have pneumonia. So even 50% of children who die from pneumonia, it is from air pollution.
Dr. Emmanuel Chermanten Amoah is a health specialist with UNICEF. He explains the strong link between air pollution and infant mortality in Ghana.
Children are a group of people who are developing, so their ability to withstand harmful things is lower than the adult. Again, children breathe in more air at any given time than an adult. So if for an adult in a minute you are breathing about 20 times or 18 times, a child will go higher than that. So imagine if there are harmful things in the air that you are breathing, then because the child is taking in more air or more of that harmful substance, that child is going to be impacted. And they develop the diseases faster. I mentioned that when we talk about children, especially those under 5, pneumonia and asthma, they can get this just from air pollution.
The WHO estimates 28,000 people died prematurely every year in Ghana as a result of air pollution. Poor air quality is mainly caused by cooking using wood and charcoal, road transport, slash and burn methods of farming, open waste burning, energy generation, accidental fires and industry. The good news is that there are things people can do to reduce the exposure. Dr. Osei says the easiest is to wear a good nose mask.
Within the limitations of some of these protective equipment like the respirators, the N95, at least you can reduce the black carbon and then other particulate emissions. And I think by doing that, we can also minimize our exposure.
Experts also recommend reducing exposure to traffic and waste burning as much as possible. But Dr. Osei says the real changes will come when government passes laws to regulate emissions and enforces them.
We should also check the emissions from the exhaust. Very important, because there are some vehicles on the road that should not even be on the road. You know, especially the diesel vehicles. You know, it contains the emissions contain a lot of black carbon, which we know is also very harmful for. For us, for example, we would be interested in seeing how exposure to schools. School children, you know, you're moving around, heavy traffic, the planning and the location of some of our infrastructure, you know, has to be regulated.
UNICEF's Dr. Chermanten Amoah says tackling the transport sector can greatly improve the air quality crisis.
And also if we can look at public transportation and improve it, and look at other ways like rail line in the cities.
According to the Clean Air Fund, Accra could raise over $28 million in 2024 alone by implementing clean air measures. This story was a collaboration with New Narratives. Funding was provided by the Clean Air Fund, which had no say in the story's content. For Joy News, Michael Ashali.
And now, 147 schools started the 2023 National Science and Maths Quiz. Among these were 17 all-girls institutions. setting the stage for a groundbreaking narrative. Two remarkable forces, Wesley Girls Senior High School in St. Louis, SHS, emerged, defying conventions and expectations. Jacqueline Ansuma Yeboah has the rest of the story.
Once denied their seed, rose from the ashes, ousting three-time champion St. Peter's in a blaze of determination. Wesley Girls Senior High School's journey, a testament to resilience, led them to the semi-final, eyes fixed on a historic victory, aiming to etch their name as the first all-girls school to clinch the National Science and Maths Quiz title.
That with God, their best will be the best, and then if it's God's will for us to get to the finals, we'll get there, and then if it's His will for us to win, we'll also win.
Their dreams, however, met an obstacle in the form of Achimota, leaving the world in awe of their journey.
Wesley Girls High School, thank you for being here as well. You also came all the way from the prelims and made it into the semi-finals. Well done. Unfortunately, we must say goodbye. Best wishes to you.
Meanwhile, St. Louis SHS embarked on a meteoric ascent, toppling reigning champions at Disadel College and outclassing Kumasi Anglican School, showcasing their brilliance in a series of victories.
And as the old Spanish saying goes, "Kisera sera, what will be, will be." We have won the cup already. This is just the beginning of our glory.
After 13 years, their return to the semi-final stage has become a beacon of hope and pride for the entire school. The school's first ever National Science and Maths Quiz contestant from 1994, now a teacher, Rose Ayisi Bona, beamed with pride, heralding the immense honor this comeback brought to their legacy.
I'm so excited that at long last we've gotten to this stage. During our time, we got to this stage and were eliminated.
As the anticipation builds and the tension thickens, the destiny of these all-girls schools have remained uncertain, with none qualifying to the finale, leaving the question lingering: which of these three remaining schools will emerge victorious in the 30th edition of the National Science and Maths Quiz? For Joy News, Jacqueline Ansuma Yeboah.
Predicament. One of Ghana's leading oil palm company, Benso Oil Palm Plantation, is going through a tough time due to an impassable obstacle. The culprit, that's the deteriorating Kejibri and Mpoho Benso Road. Now, what was once an economic lifeline has now become a stifling nightmare. Samuel Kojo Brace delves deeper into the challenges faced by the company.
Year after year, the government has looked on for the total deterioration of the Kejibri Benso Road. This road, used to facilitate the quick transportation of semi-finished goods from the Benso Oil Palm Plantation, BOP, to their clients in Tema. But today, the road has become a major headache to the company, almost grounding their operations.
For the past 2 weeks, we've not sent any, even a drop of CPO to our refinery in Tema. We had about 12 tankers parked here in our yard as we speak, just waiting for an improvement in the condition of the road so we can send them. We tried one this afternoon, and the results has not been quite encouraging.
100 meters distance could take about 3 minutes with trucks wobbling on the deteriorated road. BOP's estate and plantation manager, Kwesi Ba Ofori, spoke about the dire consequences of the bad road on the company.
So once the road is in this condition, we are not able to send our crude palm oil to our refinery in Tema. And it gets to the point that our tanks have to be full and we cannot continue with production. We have to shut down production. And mind you, this plantation employs over 2,000 employees, and they are all accommodated on this site. They all live in the plantation, in the estate. So the impact is quite dire. And we are talking about over thousands of farmers who also supply our mill. And once the mill is full of CPU, we will not be able to keep up with the production. And all these farmers will eventually be impacted.
Bob is not the only company feeling the pinch. Residents of the area also feel the pain of bumping gullies. Alfred has been driving on this road for 2 years. We met him repairing his broken down vehicle along the road.
This road doesn't help us at all. We suffer a lot on it. When you work for 3 days, you have to take everything you got to do maintenance. So are we progressing or retrogressing? This road is terrible. It is not helping us at all.
Alfred says vehicular breakdowns leave holes in his finances, with clients also refusing to pay more for transportation due to the current economic squeeze. The driving business is no longer lucrative.
Taxis, what 30 cities,
As soon as it rains, taxis take 30 cedis. Meanwhile, if the road was good, I'm not sure they would even charge 10 cedis. The residents here who don't have cash suffer. So imagine what will happen if there is someone who needs urgent medical attention. We plead with government to come and construct this road for us.
Several of the trucks which load Bob's semi-finished product to their client in Tema are grounded in the company for weeks because of the poor nature of the road. Driver Abdullahi Moro is frustrated.
Because of so too much all the time.
We spend too much time when we come here because of the poor nature of the road, and it often rains in this place too. If the company grader doesn't pull you from this place to Kejebro, for you to continue, you can't go. Even with that, we still suffer.
All the time, no.
To him, the situation is affecting the finances of the drivers.
A financial problem.
It is only when you are able to transport the products to Tema that you get your bonus. If you are not able to go, you can't get it. So it affects our finances.
The estate and plantation manager for the Benso Oil Palm Plantation, Kwesi Ba Ofori, says the nature of the road is having a telling impact on the operations and their contribution to the local economy.
I mean, the impact is impact on even the Ghana Stock Exchange. We are quite a big company. We are making a lot of impact in the lives of the communities within which we operate. Just last year, we bought fruits, palm fruits, to the tune of over 40 million Ghana cedis from farmers. This year, as of September, we've bought over 62 million Ghana cedis. Yes. That is the kind of amount of money we are pouring in the communities. And once our product is not able to go to its final destination, eventually, if we are not able to send it to its final destination, then we cannot also continue buying from the farmers. And, the farmers will eventually also suffer losses.
Residents and Bob are all calling on government to expedite road construction.
Our wish is that the government takes it up, and we know the government is challenged with a lot of roads. There are a lot of road networks that he has to go to. He's doing his best, but we think that looking at the economic potential of this company in these districts, I think it would be good if they come in to help.
For Joy News, I am Samuel Kodebrace, Benso, Western Region.
And that's all we have for you in this package of the polls. Log on to myjoyonline.com for updates. You see some top stories there. Where Ghana stands now, it calls for grave lamentation. That's according to Justice Atuguba, who will be on Upfront later tonight with Raymond Aqua. If you want to make a date for that, stay with us here on the Joy News channel. We'll see you again. I am Blessed Sudan. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.
calling all distinguished alumni, cherished friends and well-wishers of the University of Professional Studies Accra, UPSA, to join us as we climax the 58th anniversary of UPSA with a fundraising gala and awards ceremony. The date is Friday, November 3rd, 2023, at the iconic UPSA Auditorium with our guest of honor, Dr. KK Sapon, Chancellor of UPSA. Our fundraising gala is not just an event, it's a dynamic opportunity to contribute to the establishment of an endowment fund and the construction of an ultra-modern police station for the UPSA community, as well as rekindling old friendships on campus, networking with business leaders, and getting recognized for your charitable contributions. For tickets and donations, simply dial *771 *10# and enter the UPSA code 1850. UPSA, scholarship with professionalism.
Starting this October 20th to 11th of November, the African Football League. Who is going to be crowned Africa's Champion of Champions and take the lion's share of the 14.4 million prize money? Catch all the games streaming at www.AFL Africa and on FIFA Plus. The African Football League, our game, our home. Now let's shine together.
Every day, people have money emergencies.
I need my school fees.
Emergency.
Mommy, chop
money. Emergency. Emergency. Catch it. I'm your rent. Emergency. Now, there's a new emergency number in town.
More money, challenge and enjoyment. At the top life we got.
Dial *770# for all your money emergencies and chop life.
Dial *770# for money emergencies and get easy and quick access to your money, loans, and other banking needs. EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank.
Be joyful and clap your hands, so be joyful, oh you people, be joyful.